everybody, welcome back to the Mommentators. Now today we're talking about media consumption. How much is too much? How do you handle your child's media consumption? It is all around us. What do you guys think?
Or I think another question is, can you control your child? Not just how do you do it, but can you? Is it possible?
I have an oven timer.
Do you really?
Oh yeah. I'm like, 10 more minutes on that. No, seriously. I go to the oven, I put the timer on. As soon as it's like beep, beep, it's like a Pavlov's response. He's like, or if he doesn't hand it over, my daughter's like, it's my turn. Do you hear the oven? It's my turn. So it works for us that we need to set limits.
So you're talking like
very strict.
iPad gaming consoles.
iPad games and
Gotcha.
shows on YouTube.
On the
iPad.
Okay.
That's what we need to set limits on.
If you
TV
don't set limits, what happens?
My son would be on the iPad for 3 hours.
How old is he? Because I think that's important too.
He's 5.5.
Okay.
Wow.
And he comes home from school. He's in school till 4 o'clock. So he's in school from like 9 to 4. It's a long day. And for him, it's kind of like it settles him, it relaxes him. So I'll give him like 20 minutes. But as soon as I see that it's going a little bit too long, I'll set the oven timer. I'm like, you have 10 more minutes. Done. Either pass it to your sister or put it away. And I sometimes hide it. I hide it for a day. And it's also used as punishment. So if there's some behavior issues, I say, I'll take away the iPad, and he knows I will take it away.
See, it's interesting. We tried not to have a whole lot of media with our son because, you know, there's so much to do. We're in New York. Let's go outside and explore. But it is really, really cold during the winters.
Yeah.
And we live in a very small apartment, and I'm doing homeschool with him. And so we have all his homeschool activities. And at the end of the day, like, I was like, oh, I'm exhausted. I am so done. Let's try this. Let's try a Super Y or something like that. You know, it's almost like
It allows you to regroup, right?
It does. It does. But then I noticed him automatically first thing in the morning saying, how about I watch a show? Can I watch a show? And that started to worry me. And then he started having temper tantrums when he couldn't, when I told him no. So we've actually taken the stance at 2.5 that he cannot watch any television right now unless we're sitting down as a family and choosing to watch something together, because I'm just so worried about it. Now he plays on
What worries you about it?
Because he's throwing temper tantrums. He's putting so much emphasis on this television that it throws him off.
And I think we're starting from the assumption that that's a bad thing. Like,
well,
what's your feeling about that?
For him to throw temper tantrums when he's not getting his way, when I take his cars away because he's done something wrong with it, or I take a book away or something like that, he's like, but when I took the TV away, it was like on the floor, screaming and crying.
TV's more exciting than the cars and trucks.
Yeah,
Well, that's what we're teaching.
We're
teaching our children that technology and the games and the phones and the little gadgets are more exciting and more fun than actually playing. But 2.5, that's a very important age for early childhood development.
Absolutely.
And I think it's good that you're taking it away, because children nowadays are so conditioned to be entertained and to be animated that when it comes to knowing how to desensitize and just calm down and just even communicate with others nowadays, children are having issues. They're becoming more antisocial as a result of putting more focus on these games and these gadgets. My little girl, she's at an age, she's still in the toddler stage, where she responds very well to routine. And if I don't have a routine for the day, I notice that sometimes I will cheat and use technology as like a sitter, part-time sitter. I want to clean up really quick or take a little breather. I'll put her in front of a TV show for like 30 minutes. But I notice for me as a parent, I have to set ramifications. Because if I don't, it can go overboard. And like 30 minutes of Doc McStuffins is great for a 3-year-old. But when you have a 3-year-old watching TV for 3 hours, that can affect their IQ. That can affect so many things, their communication skills.
It's also bad for their body. I mean, that means that they're not moving and they're too sedentary. You know, what I do like, there are some, you know, media that really is helpful, like Just Dance. I don't know if you guys know about the Wii Just Dance. We get a workout, and it's also interactive because I do it with my daughter. We have like Disney Just Dance, and it is media. It's the TV, but we are moving together. We're laughing. We're interacting.
But that's when it's great when it's interactive. But I think it's dangerous when we use the gadgets just by themselves for the child.
Well, and I think that I think it has a lot to do with balance.
Yeah.
Because you know, I think that if I were to be too limiting for my children with regard to iPhone, iPad, we don't have an iPad, but I have an iPhone, and they figured that out, and and they're 1 and 3, and they can do all kinds of things on my iPhone.
Amazing.
And I'm not even downloading apps for them or anything, and they still want to, press all the buttons but if I were to download apps, there are a lot of really sophisticated apps that are educational, that are when we have TV on, we have PBS on, and my son was not yet 2, and we were walking through the park, and we had recently been watching Sesame Street, and there was a thing about octagons, and he saw a stop sign, and he pointed to it, and he said, "Mom, look, an octagon."
Right.
And I was like, "All right, more Sesame Street for you."
Yeah, no,
but I agree that it's not a substitute. Right. If children are using it as a substitute for parental interaction in a significant, in terms of significant time frames, like several hours, and then having no interaction with an individual, with a parent, with another child, like that is, especially at those early ages, psychological interpersonal development is really important. But our society is like screen-based nowadays. Like if you go to the playground, all the kids are playing and all the parents are looking at their phones.
And
so if we're hypocrites if we tell them that they can't have screen time because we have so much screen time.
We put ourselves on a screen, like on a thing as well.
An oven timer?
Yes.
An oven timer.
No, like when we're doing family stuff, the phones, the iPads, everything goes away.
Yeah.
We're family. We're doing this together.
That's important.
And I think that's important that the parents do it too.
I agree.
Because
I
if
can't
he's
force my kid to do it if I'm not willing.
You've got to model it.
I think
it's hard to do.
I totally agree. We have to be conscious parenting, because like you all were saying, when we look at our society, even on the subway, or even people are driving, texting, they're on the phone as they're driving, I think that we all know that children are sponges, and I think that it will be a double standard to say, hey, you can't have this much technology. We also have to hold ourselves accountable. And our children now are like robots. You tell a child, you give a child a book. I don't want to read a book. I want to play my iPad, And I think that that's almost dangerous, because children will become numb.
But at the same time, Kelly made a great point. We do homeschooling, and there are so many amazing apps. Like my son knows all of his ABCs. He knows the vowels, the consonants. He knows all these kinds of things because we're interactive and we're doing that.
And there are computers in schools. They're like, this is society is based on interacting
I have used TV as babysitter, and I probably will again.
I'm sorry, but I'm sure all of us have, right?
Come
on, ladies.
Like on the subway,
absolutely.
if we're on the subway and we have like an hour trip, because sometimes we do, if the book that I brought and the food that I brought is not entertaining him, I will put the headphones on and I will let him watch a little show.
Okay, though, that's okay. And you know what? Because we live in a full world, screen-based world, you have to be, understanding that your child has to have some screen time as well. Our kids' school actually does something cool that's called Screen-Free Week, and my kids love to follow the school rules, and they're like, it's Screen-Free Week, and what I do is
I love that your children love to follow the school rules. That's a great trait.
I know, they do, but it's a peer thing too. It's like if their friends everyone's following these rules. Yeah, but what's great about it is that they do come home and they're like, no TV, and they make each other, they're accountable to each other, no screens. But it's very hard for me because I don't want to be the hypocrite. So I actually do try to limit my own screen time, but I have to for work and for other reasons, check my phone, but I will go in another room to do it. I won't do it in front of them. And it's a great thing. But there are certain, you realize how important screens are in your life when you do a screen-free week. But then you do see that it's really fun to sit down and play an old-fashioned board game.
That interpersonal communication, human interaction, because to me, in my opinion, we're headed towards a society that will be so robotic and that will lack so much. I tell people now too, don't text me. Don't text me all day. Call me. I want to hear that human voice.
You are a caller.
I do call. Yeah. I'm real like that. I want to hear that. Whenever people text me, you all know, I call you. Hey, how are you doing? I want to hear a voice.
That too.
And I allow my little girl to hold me accountable.
I don't like talking.
I told her.
Well, but I prefer, I really, I'm a psychotherapist, so I really value that human interaction. And in some ways, the work that I do becomes more meaningful and more archaic all the time. I don't, I sit with my work is in the moment, in the room with the other person. I don't talk with them in between. We don't email in between. Our work is live and in the moment. And there are so few things that are like that, and I love that.
You lose
but
so
at the
much.
same time, I can't talk on the phone because I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I'm thrilled that I have the option
To text.
because it does
so
make me feel
helpful.
connected to my
But I think there's something
friends.
to be said for an
Like, and
entire
it's even just
culture.
like if I'm feeling, yes, I agree,
Yeah.
but I feel like there are upsides and downsides, you know. So like I also I will admit, have texted when I was driving, and I shouldn't be doing it, you know. But like if I'm in the moment and I'm getting like really frustrated with my kids, I have a really good friend who's also a stay-at-home mom who has 3 kids, and I'll be like, "Can you believe blah blah blah?" blah," and she says blah blah blah, and then I feel better.
Right,
so
because
it's
you can't
really
always sit on
great.
the phone. I agree.
It's really
think-
great to
I
have
think
that
it's a
easy, quick
I think
connection,
it's-
but it
and that's-
doesn't replace
And
the
that's what
real
we're headed
interaction.
towards, a quick microwave type of society. I think that, you know,
Well, but
when-
this is with people who I've spent a lot of time with to build the relationship.
Right.
So the relationship is there, and
already
it's just
there,
part
it's
of it.
just supplemental.
Because I agree with you. I agree with you.
I dislike talking on a phone. I would rather text someone and say, hey, do you want to meet in 20 minutes?
I
and then
agree.
sit and talk.
No,
Because
and
I
sit
can't
and talk.
sit on a
Yes.
phone, because when I'm sitting on the phone, I'm one of those people that has a million things going through my mind. And if I can't see you and see your eyes and be there with you, then I'm thinking about the dinner that I got to get ready, or my son who just ran out the door that I've got to go chase, or the laundry.
I get disturbed. My kids don't let me talk on the phone.
Yeah.
They,
But you know
they
what?
need me just at the moment that the phone rings, even
But
though
you
they
know-
need me for the hour before.
No, I understand the way our society is headed, and I understand what everyone is saying, but for me, I hold people accountable. I'm just as busy. I have a 3-year-old. We're all busy, but there's a standard that I set for myself. Even Jayla, I let her hold me accountable. I'm like, Jayla, if you ever see me paying more attention to the phone than I am you, you tell mommy. And I will tell a person in a minute. I'm playing with my little girl. You have to call me back later.
Yeah.
I'm going on a play date with Jayla. My little girl, you have to call me back later. Even with my husband, I'm like, look, we're not that important. We're not running the White House. Pick up the phone and call me. Let's keep this thing real. Let's keep it authentic. I think
like
there is,
that.
yeah, because
I agree with that.
just
I try
because
to make a lot
society
of
is doing it,
decisions
because
like
our
that,
children
too.
nowadays, like we said, 1 and 3-year-olds know how to work an iPad. I mean, come on. Are they reading yet?
I
You know?
My kids know how to download the apps, and they figured out the code to buy apps now. So
Yeah.
I'm like, what are all these charges?
My 3-year-old knows how to print out from starfall.com. You know how you do the phonetics?
good,
She
yeah.
can print out from Starfall her little
It
worksheet.
is
She was doing that
amazing.
last night. I'm like,
It's amazing.
she's 3.
You know what?
Well, and that's
Okay.
real. Oh,
no,
sorry.
absolutely. No. I think what we're saying here is that we have to be not only set the standards for our kids, but we have to follow them as well.
Yes.
But that we are going to be in a society with screens. End of
they're
story.
there.
It's
about
going to happen.
adapting.
So we're going to have to live with it.
I'm going to go against the grain, I must say. I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
But we're very grateful for all of you to watch, and we're so glad that we got to share this topic with you. Please go ahead, leave your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you can, subscribe to our channel. That way you have all the updates as well. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.